All right. I was just talking to myself. I'm going to repeat all that. Great. Good evening, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Black Label Closers, an organization dedicated to help people become highly effective closers in the space of high ticket sales. I'm sorry, I had the mute button right here pressed, and I was just talking to myself. Excellent. So, the next thing I said after that is I want you to understand this. The high ticket, the intangible, anything that sells for high ticket. We're talking about if we were to make it a single industry for intangibles that sold for high ticket. 80-90% of that being coaching and everything else in between, digital market programs, um, done for you programs, you name it, opportunities here and there. We're talking about right now, we're sitting on a $50 billion a year industry within the next 3 to 5 years, 3 years, three to five. That's another piece of data of information I have for you guys a little bit later. But um, it's going to be $280 billion, $350 billion um, within 3 years. Here's the reason why. Number one, virtual opportunities are coming. It is because the world is turning to virtuality. Now you throw in the mix AI, which is going to be a huge thing, or is a huge thing. AI is going to take 98 million jobs within the next 35 years. So that was the other piece of information and data I wanted to share with you. So 98 million jobs will be lost to AI. And if you are a professional, highly effective professional, like a surgeon, like a programmer, like and you think you're highly intelligent, you're probably top notch as far as the most intellectual people on earth. Your job is going to be taken by super intelligence, right? If you're a truck driver, we already know those are gone. Anything, it's just anything. The only jobs that will be not very prone to be taken or the only areas of the industry that are not susceptible to AI or the taking over of AI are areas where you have to mandatorily have a human connection. I don't believe psychologists will be easily replaced. I don't think, and I do surveys of my own where I ask people, how would you feel about this? And most people that I talk to, and most people that have uh, places that have backgrounds of people that not background. I don't know what I'm saying. So people that have done this research understand that anything that pertains to human connection, humans are not very prone to share. For instance, in psychology, I don't want some machine to tell me how to live a human experience, or as a human, I don't want a machine to tell me that I'm doing something wrong or how I should. It's not congruent because I don't care how smart AI is, but I don't think AI can give me that. And if it can, I don't want it. Now, obviously, you have to understand that there is the people creating this or whatever, if it's by design or just the way it is. I have my own reservations to believe this is organic, but let's assume that it is. It takes generations to get there, right? So the indoctrination right now is with young kids, right? So until they grow up, when they become the dominant generation, they're going to decide that, right? They're going to be the ones deciding that. Right now, even people, and I've heard a lot of young people talking about AI, and they don't like it. They don't like it, and they say that I don't like AI, right? But it is a tool that you can utilize to your benefit. We just got to make sure how to balance. But high ticket sales is a human connection. It's human to human connection, and it's one of those things that AI, even if AI can do the job, which it can, I don't think a regular person is gonna, a person is looking for an opportunity to grow in a certain direction is going to be willing to give a robot $50,000 just get a robot, you know, made a good job or did a good job asking questions and explaining a product. I don't think that's the case, guys. In fact, pretty sure that's not the case. All right, we're going to talk about some really cool stuff today. Oh my gosh, did I lose my questions? Let's see. Give me 1 second, guys. Because these questions, I, I, I write everything, and I want to make sure that if I write things, that if I'm gonna do training and the presentation that I can speak with notes that I take. All right. So, and the notes are right there. The title, it's there, all that stuff. So the title of today's live is Salespeople's Mindset. So we're not going to talk about technicals today. We're not going to talk about how to handle objections and how to handle people's skepticism and how to help someone who's in doubt of making money or the psychology of the customer. We're going to talk about the psychology of the closer. Now, when people are trying to sell or learn how to sell high ticket, and we get to this class, they judge this class, and this is one of the biggest parts of my training is the mindset of the salesperson. Anybody who's training people on how to sell and they're not paying attention, they're not training people heavily on mindset, and they're just focusing on the technicals and how to rebuttal this and how to get people and how do you answer to a no and how to handle objection. If that's all they care, then they're not doing it. They're just giving you 20%. Now remember, in order for you to be successful at something, 20% is technical, 80% is psychology. The way I'm going to talk to you guys right now is the way I talk to people when they're going through the process, because we're talking about money. You're no different, right? You're no different. Now here's the proposition. What I'm about to say right now, it's going to cover all the five points that I have here. You're going to be on the phone as a setter and as a closer, talking to people for the most part. Well, not for the most part entirely. You're talking to people if you're selling an intangible. You're going to be talking about how someone can get something, how someone can grow in whichever direction they're trying to grow. So if they're trying to grow in the expertise of how to make money, which is 90% of the times that you're gonna be selling something intangible, is going to be knowledge of how to make money, maybe coaching, even a done for you, right? Business. They're going to have to learn something, right? Even if it's done for you, you're going to, because these companies create the business, get you going. If it's an online business, they get you going, but you're going to have to, at some point, you can hire, I think a lot of these companies have the opportunity for you to hire managers from the company and keep my store up. I'll give you 30% whatever we sell and whatever. But some people don't want that. So you want to make sure you're aware of what's going on with the business you just bought, right? So here's the principle and the main question that you have to ask yourself. How do I acquire the moral authority to guide someone so they can improve themselves in life and they can move in certain directions with the intention of moving up towards that direction, being exceptional, being effective in doing it exceptionally? If I I'm not that person if I don't have that mindset. You cannot convince of someone of being, because then you're going to be committing conceptual fraud, immoral fraud. If you're a person who is, and I've had my tough moments, right? That I'm not the person I should be on the personally, and I get on the phone, but it's a constant struggle that we have to go through as salespeople. Is uh, and unless at least if you're not a scammer, right? If you're a scammer, then you already made your peace with your maker, if that's a thing. But what I'm saying is, if you are a person of ethics, a person of morality, you cannot tell someone or position questions that are confrontational as far as the thought of life, the perception of life, existential questions and propositions without you ever having to go through those propositions. Okay? It's something that doesn't make sense. How can you be the model that someone, because when you're a closer and you're going through that process and you're confronting people to their fears because you want to make sure they feel the pain, and you illustrate feelings and you help them come up with their dreams and how to connect their desire to their dreams and the decision to execute. How do you do that if you're not doing it? All right. So that is a constant conversation or narrative that you have to have in your head when thinking about closing. So a lot of people, when they get into these trainings and they see the title and they hear me talk about how we're going to talk about their psychology, they kind of like, oh, okay, so it's going to be an easy class. It's not going to be too important. And then right in the first 20% of that conversation of that class, they're like, whoa, they start, elevating concepts and perceptions, and it becomes very important, and it is very important. Okay, so the first bullet point here is how to make the most money as a closer. On how to make the most money as a closer. You have to be willing. Money, you're always going to find money where most people don't want to, in the place where most people don't want to go. It's always been the rule. It's supply and demand, right? The more demand, there is, things are going to be more expensive, right? Supply and demand. So if you're going to go to a place, if you want to make money easily, then you're not going to make a lot of money. You're going to make little money. So what's easy? Let's define what easy. Well, flipping burgers, that's easy. It's tedious, is stressful, is a pain in the butt. You're at the bottom of the pit. You're probably not very well perceived by society. I'm not saying that you lose your value as a person. You never get that. Nobody takes that away from you but yourself. You're the only one who determines your value, whether you're a burger, flip burgers, or you are the CEO of a company. Your value is your value. But you have to keep in mind that we also have perceptions of ourselves. We also respect ourselves depending on how much we believe and we trust ourselves, right? Now, if you have made a conscientious, and if you have made a conscientious choice not to make money, you're not. I'm talking to the air, to the air here. I'm talking to empty space because those people are not here. If you're watching this, it's because you have made a commitment. Even if you're just tempted to watch this for the entire video, there is something in there that's telling you we need to make money because we want to create a good environment for me, for my family, future family, whatever, right? And if you already have a family, think about this, guys. For those who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, life is getting tougher for everybody, right? The only difference is that a 25-year-old doesn't have the responsibilities that maybe a 45-year-old has, right? So it's you have to start thinking of learning a trade that you can put in your back pocket and take it out anytime you want. But anyway, get back to the point. So if you want to make money, if you want to make more money, then you have to understand how to make the assessment. Who do I pick? What kind of industries do I pick? But more importantly, what do I bring to the table? How prepared am I to be able to do that? Okay. So if you want to make more money, concentrate. Stop chasing money. Stop saying you're a money chaser. If you're one of those guys, I don't know who invented that term. I'm a money chaser. He's a money chaser. No, if you make money, you make money. You don't chase money. It's like a dog that chases cars. Have you seen? Or bicycles. They're dogs that are constantly just running after cars, barking at the car. Does the dog ever catch the car? Never. That's why they're called money chasers. They're not money catchers. They're money chasers. Stop chasing money. You do not chase money. Okay? You catch money. You make money. You make money chase you. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Stop being a money chaser. It's ridiculous. It's a very dumb term or title for someone or description, whatever you want to call it. If you see a successful person, don't call him a money chaser. They're not money chasers. They're money catchers. Successful people are successful because they get to the end result. And from there, they set up all the rules. All right? Second point, how to perceive money. Number one, you have to understand that money is important. And I'm not talking about the bills or the zeros and ones at the back. I'm talking about the access that money brings, the freedom it gives you. Now, nothing gives you freedom or access to anything. You get that to yourself, for yourself. You get because you accumulate. Now, one difference between poor people or poor-minded people and wealthy-minded people is poor-minded people save money. They save money. One penny saved is a penny made, right? Wealthy people accumulate money. So what's the difference? You have $10,000, you put it in the bank, and you're such a good boy or girl, you're going to keep it there, and you're not going to spend it. You're going to restrain yourself from going to picnics or parties or buying yourself a car because you want to take that money and save it for a rainy day or for whatever it is. A year later, you have those $10,000. You didn't touch them. How much money is those $10,000 now? Do you have the $10,000 value that you got when you put that money in there? Or do you have less because of inflation? Now, inflation is the trick of the system to take money, to not let you become rich because out of saving money. Because when you save money, you keep it away from the market. The market doesn't want that. You want to make money, you're going to have to put that money in the market so that you can make money. You have to put that money at risk. You have to risk. That's just the way it is. What's accumulation of money? You take money, and with that money, you make more money. You take a chunk of that money, make more money, bring more, and you start collecting money. It's a collection. You become a money collector because you're collecting, you're accumulating money. Become a hoarder of money. You know how hoarders, they go to the street or they have things that they never throw away, but then they go to the street and they pick up garbage and they bring it home because they're multiplying their concept of accumulation, right? That's the same thing with money. Keep the money you have, risk a chunk of it, bring more from the streets, and you start accumulating, right? Because if you only save, your money's gonna start shrinking, your value. So that's one thing. The next thing is stop being impressed by money. Quit being impressed. Money should not be impressive. It's important, but it shouldn't be impressive. If you have money, if you see $1 million, how impressive? If you see $1 million in cash, you're gonna be really impressed. If a friend of yours says, "Hey, come to my house. I got to show you something," and they have $1 million on the bed, you're gonna be like, "Oh my God." You should not be impressed by money. Here's the reason why. This is going to sound, I hope you understand what I'm about to tell you. Money does not have any intention to be impressive. Money doesn't have any corroborating or reciprocal feelings towards you. Money doesn't dress well so you can look at it. Money doesn't perform exceptionally. So money is just a concept that you have to dominate and control. Okay, there are things that are more valuable in life that don't have a monetary price tag, and we should be impressed. Like people's ethical behavior, that's something impressive. People's um, tenacity to accomplish something that's hard, that's something you should be impressed by, but not money. $1 million, $1 billion should impress you, because the more you're impressed by money when you have it, you don't know what to do with it. So you're going to do a lot of stupid things because now you can. Because I got money, I'm top of the line, I'm king of the hill. So I'm going to go out there and I'm gonna spend. I'm gonna press it. I'm gonna buy the best clothes. I'm gonna buy the best car, which is fine. That's what money is for. But if you're doing it because you're so impressed because you make a lot of money, then money's gonna dominate you, and that's why you're gonna lose your money, right? When you dominate money, that's when you start making. Dude, I'm not saying this because I know exactly how to. I mastered this from the beginning. I made a lot of money, and I didn't know how to freaking keep it. I was so impressed by the money I was making. I started making stupid mistakes and made a lot of mistakes, and I lost so much money. And I learned one fact: I'm not impressed by money. I love giving people. I truly do. My mom always said. My mom was really impressed by money, and she was always looking for how to make money with businesses. And she was a trooper. That's how we got all my brothers are entrepreneurs, and that's how we got the bug. And my mom was always telling me, why are you, treating your friends to, soda and biscuits or, breakfast or lunch or whatever. She was always complaining to me about how generous. She wouldn't call me generous. She called me dumb. I love my mom. My mom was a beautiful woman. I mean, she gave me, but I'm just saying that my mom frowned upon the fact that I gave people, generously. And that's really one of the reasons why I like money. And I'm not saying, look, I talk to a lot of people that say, well, ask them, what is one of your goals in life? Why do you want to make money? To give others. Look, you shouldn't want to make money because you want to give others. You want money so that you can sustain yourself, stabilize yourself, and become independent. And then once you do all those things for yourself, now you can give others. Because if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of somebody else? It's impossible. All right. I am going to quickly say hello to some folk. All right, we got Mars. Thank you for coming. Ruse, awesome to have you here. And Yowie, Venture to Excel. You guys are always here. And wonderful. We have so many more people here, but it's going to take me a long time. But I'll say hi eventually. All right, perfect. So, guys, being impressed by money is not the way to go. Right? You're shooting yourself on your foot. All right, the third item here that we have is being congruent about the type of money you want to make. What do I mean by that? So here's my personal experience. Here's my personal opinion about this. And I've lived this. I've trained so many people in my lifetime how to become closers, setters. Um, and I learned, and not just that, but when I talk to people when they're wanting to invest into an opportunity to learn how to make money in the marketplace, in real estate investment, whatever it is, right? And one of the things I tell people, and the only reason why I know this more, I know this because it's a human tendency, but I know this firsthand from salespeople that I've trained is because I can see their process. So I'm going to give you this example of a great guy, good guy that I met, and sweet kid, very. He was tuned in to the possibility of making money. I met him when he came from selling from a place where they were selling, sales training as well. And when I interviewed him, we had a training process just because I was doing some training, and he took my training for about a month. And then I had an opportunity opened up, and I said, "Hey, we're gonna call him Jimmy. That's not his name. I'm not gonna divulge his name, but Jimmy. Let's call him Jimmy. So Jimmy, you want to come and work? Yeah, let's. I already knew him, but one of the questions I asked him is, I need to bring some very ambitious people here. How much do you want to make a year? How much is your? How much are you gonna make?" And he said, "I'm gonna make $300,000. I want to make $300,000." And I said, "Hey, Jimmy, when you say $300,000, you want to make $300,000. Do you understand what it means?" "Yeah, it means I am going to work my butt off." I said, "Okay, perfect. All right." And I said, "It's not just working, but that's a good start." The account that I took grew and grew and grew, and now we had so many leads. Leads were super qualified. We were doing really well. And now now I had too many leads ready to pop, but I needed people to work. Now he was doing well. He was bringing, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000 a month. But the only thing is, he had to quit. He couldn't pitch for after 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And I didn't understand why. And I said, "Jim, why can't you pitch after 6 o'clock?" And he said, "Oh man, it's just a situation emergency. I have a situation at home." I said, "Okay." And then one day we met, and he said to me, "Jenner, I just got to be honest with you. My wife she gets really, really upset at me if I work after 6. And I mean, like, she gets, she gives me a tantrum, and she throws a tantrum, and she is, yells at me, and she." I said, "Okay. So how do we do this?" And he said, I just can't." "All right, so you can't work Saturdays, and you can work Sundays, and you can work after 6 o'clock. You're making $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 a month." So one day, I was a little fed up because it was just like 6 o'clock, and he just didn't work. So I said, "Jim, I need to talk to you." And I showed him the recording of the conversation we had, and he said, "I want to make $300,000. And I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Yes." I said, "And remember when I asked you this question?" I played the question, and I remember, and the question surfaced. And I said on that video, I asked him, I asked him, "Do you understand what it implies to make $300,000. Oh yeah, I'm a hardworking person. I said, you're working hard. So the problem is not that you're not working hard, because he was very reliable. He was on it all the time. I mean, if he closed the deal on a Saturday, I had to kind of sell him the fact that anyway. I said, when you told me that, and when someone tells me they want to make $300,000 and they're only making $50,000, you cannot expect to make $300,000 in a $50,000 behavior. It's impossible. And right now you're making $120,000 a year, and you want to make $300,000 with a $120,000 a year behavior. That cannot be. If you said that like you meant business, and now you're telling me you can't work after 6 because your wife is gonna throw a tantrum. What you need to do is you need to tell your wife that you have a goal, and nobody's gonna step on in the middle. No one's gonna become an obstacle. Only if you want to make $300,000. If you don't want to make, you tell me right now, Jader. You know what? I overstated. I didn't think it through, and I threw a number. And you're right. I don't have what it takes to make $300,000. So when you set a goal, a financial goal, do not expect that just because you said you wanted to make $300,000, you're gonna make $300,000. It doesn't work that way. You have to change the behavior. You have to change you have to increase your work ethics. You have to increase the boldness when it comes down to working smart, going the extra mile. You have to understand. Now, what happens is this. If you make $300,000, now you can take a month vacation once a year and go any freaking place you want with your wife, and you're not going to stay at the worst, at the cheapest places. You're going to be able to pay for the best places. You're going to be able to do things that people at a $50,000 behavior and profit. Because here's the thing: if you have a $50,000 behavior, you're only going to make like $25,000. That's how life is, right? If you have a $600,000 behavior, you're going to make $300,000 at least. Maybe you make $600,000, but at $50,000 is mediocre, especially if you have the means and the access. So be congruent. Make sense when you say, I want to make money. Don't give me that, I want to make money, and then you stay the same. You got to train harder. You got to come in earlier, leave later. You're going to, sometimes you're going to have to turn down, dinner with the wife or the husband. All right. Now, if you read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you have to define your centerness, where your center lies. Are you a family person? I respect that. But your family has to eat. Your family has to pay rent or mortgage. Your family needs to go to college. Your family needs that and the other. To me, family is so important. I'm willing to make money and sacrifice time. That's me. Excellent. All right, number 4. Number 4. Ask the right question. What does that mean? Don't ever say, where do I make a lot of money? Where do I make a lot of money? Because if you go and they tell you right there, that door right there, they're making a ton of money. You go knock on the door, they're going to open the door, and you're like, you guys make a lot of money here? Yeah, we do. I want to make a lot of money. All right, what do you know? Do you know how to make a lot of money? No, that's why I'm here. Oh, sorry. Go learn how to make money and come back. You have to ask the right question, and the question is, how do I turn myself to be an expensive commodity so people pay me a lot for my time and my knowledge and my input? Whatever it is that you're going to come and contribute with, you have to make yourself an expensive commodity so that you can have a high price tag on you. The system tells you how much you're worth. If you don't tell yourself, if you don't put a price tag on yourself, the system will give you one, and the system is not going to be benevolent. So you're the only one who tells yourself, this is how much I'm going to make, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. That includes, I am going to learn how to make money, because it's the only way that you become more fit to make more money. Don't ask the question, how do I make more money? Ask the question, what do I have to learn so I can become an expensive proposition and people want to pay me for that? Play the game right. Psychologically, everything starts right here, guys. All right. Last one here is write your constitution, your inventory. Yeah. So write your constitution, your inventory, your mission statement. It's important. You need to, and this is part of the 7 habits, go read on page 162 and ask those questions. Those questions are extremely important. Those questions that are there. How you write your constitution, that means you're going to write the principles that you're not willing to jeopardize. So the way you do that is free write, whatever comes to your mind, keep writing those things. Those just words, just don't even think about it. Just give it direction. Like, this is going to be my constitution. This is going to be the principles I'm going to be striking for. So let's see what happens. And then you just start, boom, 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 without thinking. And then see what you write, and then organize those ideas and redact the text until you purify your constitution. Your constitution, like the Constitution of the United States, you have your rights, you have your obligations, and your responsibilities. Think about that, right? Just wanted to share that with you guys, and it's a great. This year is going to be awesome if you make it awesome. Everything is by execution. If you execute, the more you execute, the more the closer you're going to be to accomplish the things. And trust me, I've done this a lot of times. It's a never-ending game. All right. My name is Jader Salazar. I'm here. I'm the founder of Black Label Closers. You can go to blacklabel-closers.com. That's the website. You can sign up there. Look at some testimonials. You can come to YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, just 30 minutes. We talk about fun things here. You can go to skool.com, school, sign up for our free course. You can ask questions. You want to take it to the next level, $97 question. Trust me, price at $1,000, valued at $1,000, reduced to $97, so you can have take your first step right towards. And if you really want to put your money where your mouth is, what you're going to do is you are going to sign up for the partnership program. You're going to practice. You're going to start learning exactly what it is to become a closer. You're going to be able to make money because you're going to sell, and we're going to be able to split that 50-50. All right, that's where it's at. I want to help you. I want to be there. All right. So excellent. Keep these principles. Remember this. Tag this, make comments, ask questions right here. I challenge you guys. It's time to make it happen. All right. Until next, Tuesday, we're going to be here. I'm going to be here Tuesday at 7 p.m. Let's do it. And bye, friends. Have a good night. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.